Then you have to go find his bandana and jade pendant.
That's ridiculous.
Whoa! Woo! Episode 4 is here. Jeff and Dirk Show. My God.
My God!
There's been so much shit going on in the last couple of
I'm
weeks.
so hyped, dude. I'm just like, I'm gonna lead into mine because I saw such a great show last night, and I'm talking about real talent here, which is I saw Hart and Joan Jett open up for Hart. Hart, for the people that don't know out there, is a band from the 70s and 80s. They're a pair of sisters that did sort of folksy hard rock in the 70s and then moved to, kind of synth-driven pop ballads and rock-ish stuff in the 80s. But amazing songwriters. They're extremely talented, and I gotta say, I went into the show thinking this is gonna at least be a very good show. It was like top 5 best shows I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
It was the fact that Ann Wilson, the singer, is 69 years old and still can hit it like an opera singer. I mean, she belts it, dude. Like, we were just in awe. The guitar work was fantastic. The covers that they did Stairway to Heaven, which was just unreal. Wow. Unreal. Not a lot of bands cover that, because
they don't.
They can't get the Robert Plant range, right? And she can hit it all. She can do it. It was just like, I had goosebumps the entire time.
Did they do Barracuda?
They ended with Barracuda,
Oh, man. Yeah. Just to see that guitar solo live would be amazing.
Dude, they did Crazy on You. They did Straight On. They did Barracuda, Magic Man.
Wow.
I mean,
that's some good classics.
Oh my God. It was just so good. And I knew that they wouldn't Ann Wilson, I know, and Nancy, and I guess the whole band. I know that they're musicians and they're not going to sell it short and just try to make a quick buck.
No.
Like, if they know they can't do it, they're not going to do it. So that's why I wanted to see it. I was like, I know that they're going to bring it when I come to this. What I didn't expect was how amazing the show was going to be. I mean, they just, like, the band that they have with them, it's not all the original members of Heart. I think it's just the sisters from Heart left.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they got younger guys in there with them. But, man, they made it. So, their catalog in the 70s versus their catalog in the 80s, two very different things, right? They definitely leaned more towards their 70s stuff than their 80s stuff. Like,
that's good.
Much so. But the 80s stuff, they didn't leave it out. But what they did was they redefined it. They mutated it and made it sound like their 70s stuff more. So they took their 80s songs and sort of redefined it, played it in a way that made it just more unified in the set. It was like, it didn't seem so disjointed. It was just a fluid, even set. I mean, all of it sounded like the same band. And I just like was blown away. I had forgotten about Stairway to Heaven. I wasn't expecting it. And they did that thing where bands leave and people cheer for them to come back. They did that.
Encore, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, they'll do Barracuda to end it, and no, they came back with Stairway. And Wilson played the flute herself on it to lead it in.
I mean, that's amazing. That would be sweet.
Man, I'm telling you, and the light show was incredible behind them. It was just unreal. I'm sorry, I know that's the culture part of this show. So
no, that's good culture.
Our channel. Absolutely.
And I think that some of our folks that are listening, if they play Guitar Hero 3, Barracuda is one of the major songs in that game.
They know. Yeah, they know.
So they know.
Nancy Wilson don't play around, man. Nancy Wilson does not play. Back to nerd shit. I beat Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was a great game. It's obviously not the best game of the year for me,
No.
but I thought it was really fun. I loved it. I thought like I could not put it down initially, right? Like, but I flew through it. I mean, my playing time was it's not a very long game, and it's
No.
fairly easy to beat. I mean,
It is easy. I mean, they still make it so that it's only what 3 hits to kill a boss. You got to
yes.
kill a hit 3 times.
Yep.
So they've never evolved that. And if you just follow that storyline, the main story quest, and not get sidetracked for moons, just get the bare minimum, you can burn through it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can burn through it, but
yeah. But in terms of the mechanics, I loved it. I loved the wacky stuff, switching from 3D to 2D.
2D,
inside. I thought that was cool. The throwbacks. I mean, it looked exactly like Super Mario Brothers, the original.
8-bit graphics, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I loved it for as much as a game like that can be loved. I'll put it that way. You know. But my only complaint is that it was too short.
Way too short. If you just play the main story, it is not that long. But it wasn't like it's not a groundbreaking story though. It just
yeah, I mean the story is not much. But I don't know one Mario game that has a great story.
No. I mean, it's never been known for its storyline. It's
always been about like how fun it is, how much you enjoy it. You know, like it's
and they do some groundbreaking kind of gameplay mechanics. I mean,
yes,
that
mechanics
whole thing of
are where
switching,
it's at.
The whole thing is switching between that 3D to 2D.
Yeah.
You got to break, and then they add new stuff like, okay, now you're gonna do this, and you've got to fly this, and
yeah. I think after playing Breath of the Wild, I wish that they would incorporate more puzzles like Zelda does into Mario. They do it a little bit. They kind of hit. Yeah, they kind of.
It's more platforming puzzles, though.
Right. Well, they hint at it, and they kind of want you to do kind of some puzzles, but I want some full blown like I really have to think like an engineer type shit, you know, which Breath of the Wild does. You really have to think about like physics and what the room looks like and where I'm sending stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I love that. So I think Mario could add that in at some point. Maybe there is a game out there, I don't know, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then I wanted to add this because it's not going to make it into our news items, but I thought it was of merit. The Marvel Avengers game, we had New York Comic Con this past weekend. Lots of comic book news, which we'll try to cover on our CBBC show. But one item had to do with video games, which is Marvel Avengers, which looks pretty amazing. I don't know if you've seen any gameplay for it. Have you seen?
Is that the one for the Switch, or is it the one that's still coming out?
No, it's the one that's coming out.
Is it the one that's coming out that no one liked the rendering of the models for like Thor and Iron Man and the voice acting?
Possible. It's like Quantum, or is it Crystal Dynamics that did it? I don't know. Nate would know.
Crystal Dynamics. Jeez.
I thought. Wait.
Because we had reviewed a game during E3 that came out, and it was Marvel Avengers, and everybody blew up the internet because
it's Crystal Dynamics, and it's going to be published by Square Enix. Yeah,
okay.
That's the one that we talked about. Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah,
the big next to Spider-Man. You know, supposed to compete with Spider-Man as a video game or comic book game. So in that, you know, you got your mainstays, and people were kind of complaining, which I think has some merit, that the characters were all the same. It was Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America. It's like yada yada, you know.
The original Avengers, basically.
Yeah, same boring shit, you know. Yeah. But it was revealed that you're gonna have a 6th Avenger in Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel. She's like the curveball that they're throwing in. which I think she's gonna be one of the main protagonists, I think, in the story, which is great. Yeah, she's a big popular character in the comic book world in Marvel. So I like that. I think it's cool. I'm definitely into playing her. I'm excited about that game because I didn't get enough with the Spider-Man game. I felt like that formula could definitely be exploited and used and applied with other comic book characters.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, could be. It has to be good though, right? We've seen this. Yeah. So that was the news. I just wanted to drop that in. I thought it was cool that Kamala Khan's going to be a playable character, that we haven't seen yet. So it'll be her formal introduction into the, I won't say MCU, but sort of popular culture.
Yeah.
Outside of comic books, this will be the
Marvel
first
pop culture. Yeah.
Yeah, Kamala Khan. So
it's gonna be hard to beat though what Spider-Man brought last year.
It's gonna be hard to beat.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah. What you been up to, Jeff?
I've been playing WoW. I don't know why. Well, it's partly I know why. It's because everyone's all pissed off at what's been going on in EVE, and on the EVE side, they actually ended their local chat blackout, where what they had done. Yeah, they blacked out local, so you couldn't see who was in system until someone spoke, and it was delayed.
Like strike, like you're going on strike.
Yeah, we were striking. We're boycotting.
You have a union?
No.
You need a union.
So I mean, they finally ended that under the guise that they got enough data and everything's gonna be good, but don't expect it to stay quiet for long because they want to do something else. And it's less than 3 weeks till EVE Vegas when I'll be on the ground and report after I get back about EVE Vegas, but I don't know. No one's returning, so we've all been playing World of Warcraft, either classic or retail. And
I wonder, there's no way that WoW was that they could expect that they would have EVE Fallout people.
No,
because they have no control over that. That's something that happened in EVE, right?
It is, yeah.
And then it just kind of maybe you can tell me how many people from EVE switched over to WoW.
That is hard to quantify how many switched over.
Yeah.
But you look at
people for sure.
Yeah, like half my corporation in EVE is all playing WoW. We started guilds,
what?
And I broke down and I started a dirty alliance character because they all went alliance for some fucking reason, and so I was like, fine, you know what, you guys are gonna play this, so I made a character, and it's the way they've changed the game from playing classic and how hard classic is, where I played 3 days into a character, so I'm about 72 hours, and I'm only at level 26.
Oh,
and
wow.
I barely have 2 gold for my character, which unless you play the game, you know how hard it is to make a gold in classic. So I started the character, and I've played for 17 hours. I am level 45, and I have almost 70 gold in 17 hours of gameplay.
Wow.
So 45 level in 17 hours, Vice 26 levels in 72 hours of gameplay.
It's a lot.
But I got to see some of the new story quests and new quests that they started on that side of the factions. And I ran across this quest. It was fucking awesome. It was basically the whole plot, the overarching plot for Rambo, First Blood Part 2. Yeah.
In WoW?
In World of Warcraft, yeah. Because you go and you're you've got to, you talk to this councilman whose name is Troutman. And you've got to go and get this guy named John J. Keeshan. And you go down and you find him fighting Muay Thai kind of style kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's he sends you, he's like, I gotta find my bow, my hunting bow, and my hunting knife.
Oh, so it's pretty much dead on, right?
And then once you get that, then you have to go find his bandana and jade pendant.
That's ridiculous. How long did it take you? Did you complete it?
I completed it. It's a pretty fun story quest because you go through and you're trying to find all the members and rescue POWs of Bravo Company.
Oh my God.
And then once you do that, you've got to like eradicate the enemy, and Colonel Troutman delivers this tank that has a machine gun, and the guy that's playing Rambo, he gets in the machine gun turret and he's just like annihilating all these enemies, and you're just driving around this tank and he's like yelling, he's like, ah.
My God.
It was funny. After I figured it out, it was Rambo. I was like, dude, this is awesome. So I do like they do that stuff in WoW where they will take a lot of pop culture and famous movies and kick it in to the game and have like
pretty cool
storyline about it. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I've been playing WoW for 15 years. 15 years.
Yeah.
So because I have high level characters, I can go buy like the special gear sets that I can equip that just the gear levels with me, so I never have to change out gear, and it has like these crazy stats for.
That's insane.
So I mean, leveling is pretty easy for me, but it is fun.
I downloaded it. I just haven't started it yet.
Oh, no biggie.
So
well, if you do, let me know, and
yeah.
If you want to start off easy mode, I'll give you like the server name we are playing on the Alliance side, and I can give you a little boost, help out with some money.
Yeah, the second I drop in, man, I'll let you know for sure.
Okay. Yeah, just if you're gonna do an Alliance character, and
okay,
create whatever you want. I'm playing a monk this time, and they're just like super easy mode.
I'll let everybody know on the next show who I got.
And then, so on the other side, a lot of the fall TV has started up, and I'm still finishing up the Righteous Gemstones, which is that show on it.
Love it. HBO. I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm saying I love it that you're following that, and I want to watch it.
And most of broadcast television shows are just it's just atrocity in writing. It's terrible. Yeah, it's so bad watching some of the catching some of it because there's nothing else on.
They just don't have the budgets, That budget, the budgeting doesn't just affect graphics or special effects. It's the writing. Yeah, you got to hire people, that
even the caliber of actor is
that also. Yeah.
So I am watching this. There's a new show on besides my SEAL Team show that I really like.
Evil?
Evil. Dude, I was completely shocked to have it on.
Well, I will say this: people outside of the world network television world, have been buzzing about that. There's people that I follow on Twitter that have been talking about that series. So
it is.
I was mildly curious. Yeah,
it was not like anything I expected the last 2 episodes because it's really it's raw, and you're like, dude, this is on TV. It's like, damn,
and it's got Luke Cage. Yeah,
it does have Luke Cage.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a surprisingly good show, and where it has a good path. If it follows the path, it should be good. If they don't screw it up, and get some negative feedback, or if the executives for CBS start getting cold feet about how raw this show can be and what it's going to tackle, just what the material they're going to try to touch on this. Yeah, they could destroy it and make it dumb it down. But for right now, for a pilot,
right now it's good. Yeah,
for a pilot episode and then a second one, I'm like, wow, okay, you guys just went right for it.
I will say this for CBS, it has good ads for the show. Like,
yeah,
I don't recall any ads I've ever seen for a network television show that I've been interested, to be honest. But that one actually has interesting ads. Like when I see the ads, like,
and it has two
enticing.
different sides to the ads. It has like your dark sort of evil,
Yeah,
and then it has like this goody, like feel good. You're like, so what am I watching?
right.
And what's that guy's name? Is it Mike Epps?
Mike Coulter.
Mike Coulter.
Yeah,
He plays an awesome antagonist.
yeah,
Because
that's awesome.
he really plays a good bad guy. He didn't do so good as playing like a good guy or a protagonist, and just. But
yeah,
he has evil down. It's scary.
They moved a lot of the people from Luke Cage over to CBS. There's also the woman that was playing Misty Knight has her own show as a judge.
I don't want
I
to
don't
watch
know
this
what
show.
it's called. No, it looks terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
Even the
but I'm
commercials.
just saying they're
terrible.
moving all those people over. It looks like they're all finding jobs in terrestrial TV.
Terrestrial. Is it really terrestrial at this point?
Yeah.
It's sad though that they will never have the dynamic if they ever rekindle Punisher.
I know. They killed Ghost Rider too. So.
Yeah, I saw that. That was on the docket, but I
didn't have high hopes for that anyway. But
Hulu's not bringing it. I tell you,
Yeah.
Hulu's not bringing it. Netflix is bringing it. But I think that's why we're seeing a show like Evil as like a sort of testing the waters on broadcast TV to try and. And what I'm happy about is they didn't put it on All Access. If they had put it on All Access, I'd have been pissed.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the big networks aren't going with a superhero thing, but doing it a little more normal. What they're doing is like anytime they tip their toe in the superhero pool, they go too superhero-ish, like with Supergirl, where they go like full blown with capes and yada yada, and I'm like, no, dude, you could dial it back and do something awesome. Like if
Supergirl was decent on NBC.
Yeah.
And then it went to the CW and it got CW'd. And
right.
That's the problem with Arrow, and that's the problem with The Flash, and that's the problem with Batwoman now is on CW.
Yes.
And I'm not going to watch it just because it's CW and it's garbage.
Right. Cool.
Digressing into bitching about CW.
There you go. Don't do it. Don't do
it. So, yeah.
Go.
Woo! All right.
Later. Breaking views.
Breaking views.
Breaking views. Oh, welcome to Breaking Views, our news segment in the Jeff and Dirk Show. Number 5 this week. Game of Thrones Season 8 wins Emmy for Best Drama.
I think they barely pulled it out to get Best Drama at the end. I really do.
I think if they could give an award for Best Drama to all the stuff that happened around this show and the fact that people lost their shit when, they're like, yeah, that's Best Drama.
Well, it's interesting that I'm glad that Peter Dinklage, he also won Emmy for Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
Which, he missed it a couple of times when he got nominated for Emmys, especially when he was on trial, and he did that whole monologue when he was on trial.
Right.
For
absolutely.
For, killing Joffrey and all that shit.
The trial was great.
So, I'm glad that he got it, but a lot of other people, lost out to other shows,
Yes.
Maisie Williams, Sophie Turner.
Yeah. No.
And, all of them. And Peter Dinklage beat out Nicholas, I can't say his name because I forgot it, but the guy that played Jaime Lannister.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nicholas something.
I'm not going to get that hyphened last name.
So, I'm glad that Game of Thrones...
Costage Wilder or something like that. Wilder.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Game of Thrones won an Emmy for best drama because I mean, you think about the hype and the sheer just popularity that Game of Thrones had, how fervent it was at the end. I mean, we had our own, a show had no name. We had our own show about it.
You know, I will say this is my opinion on it. The more time that we have away from season 8 as it gets older, the less okay I am with it. Man, it does not age well.
No,
I don't think.
No,
because like if we're talking about all the Game of Thronesy stuff with effects and you know all the dragon stuff and yada yada, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
they got more money.
Budget-wise, yeah, budget-wise, incredible, but
they rushed it at the end.
Yeah, they absolutely rushed it and made it like. Okay, spoilers for people that if you inexplicably have not watched it, tune out right now. But real quick, the fact that they wrapped up like the whole Night King thing in an episode, one episode before the end of the show, I just like, what the fuck was that, man?
Well, I think they lost sight of what Game of Thrones had done for so long. It was like expect the unexpected. And they started treating, popular characters. They started like saving popular characters.
Yes.
And before that, right out of the gate, the first episode, the most popular and favorite character at the first season, gone. You know, and they would sit there and do these monumental, just like take this person out and take this out, and they wrapped it up. And I think at first, I kind of liked the dynamic change with Daenerys. Yeah. But now it's just like there was no substance. There was no.
It's too heavy-handed.
It was
absolutely too heavy-handed. Too brief. Yeah. And I just I felt like they were selling themselves short for ending it when they did. And normally you don't say that because normally a series goes on too long. But I felt like the series was too short.
It was too short. They wrapped it up too fast, and I still don't think that Bran the Broken should. It's dumb.
Absolutely.
I know. I ate my words from when we covered it, and the show has no name. But
no. Well, no. I have different opinions than I even did then. Yeah. I do. Number 4. Disney Plus shows will have MCU-sized budgets, which I know is music to Nate's ears. He signed up for that 3-year deal, didn't he?
I did.
Oh, there you.
They did. But you know what sold it was I want to watch The Mandalorian.
I know. I agree.
I want to watch The Mandalorian, and they can sit there, and they can say this now that they're going to have MCU-sized budgets.
Yeah.
But I think that they are going to reprogram money for the shows that become popular, and they get the bigger budgets, and the other shows that are just going to become filler shows are just going to get the leftover scraps of money.
Yeah. I just don't want to. The thing is, like, Netflix has been doing this for a while. They got it down. They know sort of how to handle it. Disney, Evil Empire, aka, has gotten it. They've gotten the big screen stuff down to this point. I want to at least test that out and see if they can pull this off. I mean, what if their interface is garbage? Like I just don't know. Like I don't want to throw my money at something that I don't think is a sure bet. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and I do need to point out that we say that the shows will have MCU size, but that's only the Marvel shows that are going to have those budgets. Yeah. It's not like all the Disney shows. It's just anything that has to revolve around Marvel.
Right. They're talking between 100 and 150 million for 8 episodes. So you're between 6 and 8 episodes. You're averaging 12 to 25 million an episode.
And I think I want to quantify when I say that the reason my opinion that Disney is an evil corporation overall is more of their tactics they've used
The greed.
in the greed of getting what they want. And on a side note, I had read an article that I didn't think had very much merit, but it was reported on several times how a recent interview with George Lucas, how he actually wasn't very happy with how they took the Star Wars trilogy for Episode 7 and
They
on.
discarded his ideas.
They did, yeah. They sort of just wrote him.
Right. Yeah, he
So.
was not happy. But no, I'm not gonna get into all of my beef with Disney and Marvel.
Disney likes to change history,
but Disney just gobbling everything else up around them.
and this will play in this whole thing with Disney does play into our number one topic. So I'll save it for that.
We'll get to that. But I am curious to see, how this plays off. I want to see. I mean, the Netflix Marvel shows were $3.8 million an episode, so they had a budget total per season of $200 million. We'll see. That's. I mean, Disney's going to have more money to play around with. That doesn't always mean it's a surefire.
No, it doesn't, because you've got to have the feel. That it feels good. So, and you've got to have that where the writers and the actors and the director and production cast all click.
Right.
And they believe in what they're doing.
And I'll end it on this. My main concern is that it gets very samey. Everything starts to sort of look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you don't take chances, you don't gamble a little bit. No. That's why I love Legion so much. Is so far out there, so different than what anything had been done in any sort of comic book world on film. So I need more of that. I don't want just more of the same. Like, that's going to get very boring and stale. I need some chances. Like, expand this out. Do some fun things with it. Anyway, if you're listening, Disney, I know you listen to this podcast.
Yeah, because our opinion matters. So.
Right. You're bringing number three?
Number three. So, in somewhat of it was kind of surprising. It was pleasing to know. But I think it was a little late to the game that Sony finally announced that they cut the price of their PlayStation Now streaming service from $20 to $10 a month.
Lovely.
It seems like it's a little late to the show when all the other... I mean, PlayStation Now is a great streaming service, but why did they wait so long to reduce price? I mean, maybe because they're the top one right now,
right?
In respects to content. But I think that they were scared that they saw Microsoft's Game Pass starting to ride on their heels, and they're getting ahead of Google Stadia.
Right. Yeah, Stadia, I think, is the big driving force behind that.
And, because of that announcement, hey, I signed up for a whole year. It's $60 for a year. So
for PS Now?
Yeah, $60 for a year. So it's the price of one game.
I'm totally getting back just to finish Hot Shots. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going back in because we beat both Hot Shots, but there's one we did not complete all the way. I think International, Hot Shots International. There's a guy, after you beat the game, there's a guy that, like, it's got one of those old mustaches. He twirls it, and then he hits a golf ball at you and looks at you, and then you have to get to him and play him. And so it's almost like a boss after you beat the game. That's awesome. I did not get to beat that guy, so I'm going back in just to fight that dude. Hot Shots International.
Oh.
No, I'm gonna try it, dude, because now that you can download the PS4 games.
Yeah.
Also, Cox came in and redid the wiring on our street.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's gonna be, before when we had it, there was a major lag in the streaming, and it was maddening. And I was like, this is not gonna work. But now that we've got this, I'm hoping that, PS
Have you seen an improvement? Not to not
Yeah,
to derail, but if it's so that whole time that you've been having all these
we
problems,
have not had any internet issues since they
That's
came
awesome.
and rewired. But I had to raise hell. I had to blast them on Twitter. I had to talk to them privately. They had to call people out like 3 or 4 times before they finally got a supervisor to come to the house, and he noticed like that it wasn't just our house, but the street itself was a
Just
problem.
terrible.
Like
Yeah.
this was like 20-year-old wires, you know,
Well,
pre-Katrina wiring.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, pre-Katrina wiring that was here that he replaced, and since we've had that replacement, it's been excellent. Our internet's been great. So. Anyway, that's
good.
derailing.
That's really good.
Yeah, I will. I'm jumping back into PS now, and I'll report.
Well, hit me up. I mean, it is derailing, but it is still within the confines of PS Now. Because I mean, honestly, with them going to $10 a month, you also think about it. They waited a while after Google Stadia released theirs because I haven't heard much more about Stadia since they made that last announcement.
I know, except for the ads, which I see all the time.
I don't see the ads.
Really? I just see that little box in the corner that says like, be a partner or be an owner or yada yada. I don't know what it says.
I do not. Maybe because I don't use Google that much, but I don't see ads for it, and I don't feel the buzz. Like when something's going to be released, I don't know when the release date is anymore. I sort of forgot about it.
I know. I don't know when either. I think it's soon now.
If I feel like it's soon, you would think that there'd be a hype that start to feel like if they're going to do it like right before the holidays or something, you would start to feel the buzz. And I don't hear anything. It's stagnant.
Yeah.
Google might pull the plug before it even goes. I don't know. But that's a completely off topic. And
I know. We've talked about that.
Should go talk to number 2.
Number 2. Kevin
Go for it.
Feige or Feige. However you say his last name.
I wanted you to murder his last name.
Well, I've heard it both ways. I've heard Feige is the most popular one, but I've also heard Feige.
I'd say Feige.
Other people. So that Marvel guy, the MCU guy, is developing a Star Wars movie. So he, I think this is good news. I mean,
I don't know.
Talk to me as a Star Wars guy.
What would he be developing a Star Wars movie about, though, is the question. I don't get it.
Well, it's going to be wide open now that we're done with,
the trilogy, the Skywalker.
The Skywalkers are done, so this is a wide open world.
If I could see him doing something in the light of what The Mandalorian hopes to be, or following in the footsteps of Rogue One, then I'd be down for it.
Right.
Explore the universe.
Also, he's got a ton on his plate, so I don't want him to just treat it as a throwaway or just like as a minor property. I'm sure he would. I think I've read that he is a huge Star Wars fan, so I think he would treat it well. But, masterminding this whole plot of multiple movies and the universe and threading things between is not the same as a single film.
No, it's not.
It'd be different if they said he's going to be heading our Star Wars thing instead of, he's going to be just overarching and managing the entirety, basically becoming Kathleen Kennedy. If he was the new Kathleen Kennedy, I guess. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what he's going to do with one film. That's good, though. It gives him a little bit of testing of the waters to see.
That's interesting because then that would become the first Disney exclusively produced Star Wars product, or the product under the Star Wars umbrella that wasn't Lucasfilms. Because everything up until now has all been still the product of Lucas.
So even Last Jedi and
because they had the characters. They've kept the characters and they're following the Skywalker storyline. So you're still within that whole arc of Skywalker and what George Lucas started 40 plus years ago. Yeah. So
we don't know. Movie, I mean, what if he? I mean, it depends if he's going to go completely off script and do something entirely new within that universe, or if he's going to include some elements from the Lucasfilm time. Depends.
Yeah, I don't think they should. I think that we should leave that alone. I think I would like to see them do like a Knights of the Old Republic. Go back to.
I'm ready to move on, dude. Yes. I am ready to move on past. Look, I love the Skywalker storyline. I love all the characters in it, but we're talking about 9 films here with loosely the same characters. Let's move on.
Go somewhere else.
And I loved Rogue One so freaking much.
Oh, dude.
And that has very little to do with any of those characters outside of the main storyline that they worked on.
The filler that did it, and it was that it was like these totally, minor characters, but they did a monumental thing, and the way that it was told was just like, wow, okay.
I think Rogue One was hugely important in the overall scheme of Star Wars, in that it showed that Star Wars films did not have to be done a certain way.
Yes.
You can do it in the style of something gritty and more action based, in a lot darker.
Yeah,
you don't have to make it like a Disney. I say Disney. I use the word Disney in films that are very bright and shiny and happy and yada yada. But I mean, like, it doesn't have to be over the top and something like, you can do it understated and with more shadows
in the universe. Universe,
absolutely, yeah.
Where they failed, they tried to go over the top with Solo, and it was an unnecessary film.
There were pieces in Solo I didn't mind.
Some of the stuff was cool. I mean, I like Donald Glover's acting. I did like his acting. And Emilia Clarke was really good. It took a while to figure out who she was. I was like, damn, that's Emilia Clarke.
Also, I felt like in terms of costume design and some of the cinematography in it, they were taking cues from Rogue One. They just didn't. They didn't go there. It's almost like
sort of trapped. They were trapped in a predetermined storyline, and that was it. They just had to go.
They didn't know what movie they wanted to be. It was
they knew where they had to be. They knew where they had to be at the end.
Yeah, right.
Because it had to show Han Solo as we know him from the trilogy.
Right.
So, but they had a starting point, and then they're like, what do we do in the middle? Let's just make a movie and rehash stupid shit and maybe hypothesize how he got this.
And that's a great point, in that's why I want to move away from the Skywalker thing. I want to
move away from the whole thing.
That way you don't have to think about the timeline. You don't have to be like, well, we have to put it in here to adhere to whatever's before or after, or Vader's got to be involved.
Get away from the Jedi. New. Get away from the Jedi completely, almost. Which was what Rogue One did. The only lightsaber you saw was at the end of the movie.
Right.
And that was all you saw.
That was the big thing with Rogue One, is that it showed that the universe is a lot bigger than just the Jedi and the Sith. We can make it large.
The leaders of the Rebel Alliance against the leaders of the Empire.
Right?
Yeah. I agree.
Do it to it, Kevin Feige.
And so we might as well just finish out talking about Disney and number 1, but we're going to switch from Star Wars back to a huge announcement.
Thwip.
And I almost have a feeling it was like, was this planned from the beginning?
I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised that they just wanted to create
corporate games with the public.
Yeah, and get the internet all just in a tither, and the masses just automatically start getting pissed off because they read a thing where talks were dead about Spider-Man staying with the MCU.
Would that be considered collusion, though? Couldn't they get in trouble for that?
Oh.
No collusion, no obstruction.
Don't go there. No.
Anywho, moving on. Yeah, look, I mean, I was really I was one of those rare people out there that was on Sony's side. I know everybody was on Disney's side.
Oh, no, I was on Sony's side.
Yeah, I just felt like Disney was bulldogging them and then turning it to the public and being like, "Whoa, woe is me! Like I didn't get what I wanted to play with."
Yeah.
You know, and this at least like extends it where everybody can come out of that deal probably well. You know, like this gives the opportunity for Sony to come out well too.
Well, and that's what Disney did. Disney sat there and played the victim at the end. Was like, well, it's Sony's fault. They're the ones that are destroying your beloved Spider-Man. The fans, it's blame Sony. They've run that thing into the ground, and we're like, no, because they did pretty awesome with the last couple with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. You can't sit there and say that it's Sony's fault. The announcement is that Disney and Sony finally came to an agreement to extend the partnership with Spider-Man being the MCU.
So we get one more Spider-Man film, and then we get one more Spider-Man MCU appearance, I believe. That's how it works out.
Where are they going to go now with the MCU? After with Endgame, what is next? Are we just going to be...
It'll probably be... Well, I don't know. I think there was some theory about what his next one was going to be.
Because it just leads to that oversaturation of Marvel for the past 10 years.
I just thought of this, and holy shit. Some people might not ride for this idea, but put him in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's fucking awesome.
That'd be fucking great, right?
Well, then my question is are they going to have Thor in Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
Or 4. Oh,
4.
3, you mean?
3.
Thor.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of Thor 4, which is going to be late. Yeah, Jane Foster and all. I'm sure he's going to have a part of it. You know, if Jane Foster's taking over the hammer in Thor 4, I'm sure he might ride with GOTG 3. Like he'll leave, and become Odin's son, which he did in the comics. You know, he wasn't Thor anymore. He was Odin's son.
Wow.
So he might do that, ride with them, but it'd be cool for them to do something crazy with Spider-Man in the MCU.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, I could. Well, I saw a teaser. I didn't read the article. I just read the headline, so it could be just a clickbait kind of thing. But it was, IGN, which used to only report on video games, now they have to report on everything pop culture and spoil everything like early. They're like, hey guys, we're just spoiling assholes, so we went and saw all this great stuff, and we played Last of Us 2, and this is what we think, and I could give a fuck what you think. I'm gonna go on a tangent.
All those websites do it. Yeah.
But it was talking about showing more of the capabilities of the Iron Suit that Tony Stark made and gave as a parting gift to Spider-Man to Peter Parker.
I didn't know that Tony Stark has a brother in the comic books, and
really?
They totally ruined that for me. Arno Stark is Tony's brother. His name is Arno, and he's going to be the new Iron Man, apparently.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I don't follow Iron Man comics that much, but they announced it at NYCC, and I guess everybody had to cover on it. So I was like, wow, okay.
Hey, you should have done spoiler alert. Don't read this headline unless you want to get.
Right.
But we're at the point of the age of information where information is currency, but they don't think about the repercussions of people that want to be surprised. Kids don't want to be surprised anymore. They want to know what's going to happen.
I would like we could start a website where we actually just hold back and, but I guess we would lose out the clicks. We wouldn't get the clicks.
We don't have clickbait.
But I don't click on the click. I avoid it. I don't know who is, I guess like you said, maybe the kids are going for it, but man, I avoid the headlines.
I think a lot of it is just that perceived clickbait that everyone thinks is a hot ticket because it's popping up in your social media feeds and advertisements because of how they've tracked over your entire history of using social media and what your metadata shows your proclivities are going to be.
Proclivities.
You know? Wow, look at that big word. Huh? I mean, think about it though. It's like, and I saw a thing on Facebook where it's like at one point they're like, "Hey, just to let you know, your location history is stored and you can wipe it anytime. But we use this to target ads." I'm like, "Oh, is that why I get all these Vegas ads all of a sudden when I'm in Las Vegas?"
Oh my god!
So it's like they sort of prey on, and this is going back to the whole whining about Russian hacking Facebook and swaying voters in 2016.
Oh my god! Are we going there?
And we're not going to go there, but it's just the targeted ads that you see on social media is because they track your life and they know everything about you.
That's correct. We are living in Big Brother.
We are.
And for the millennials that don't know that, look it up.
And there's
George
no Julie
Orwell.
Chan at the end
Look
of Big
up
Brother.
George Orwell.
1984.
All right.
All right.
Thank y'all for
I
stopping
think we'll rack up those breaking views because we went askew. That should be like view askew, but that is copyrighted, so we can't go there. So, appreciate everyone watching or listening for all our podcasting buddies.
That's it.
And Dirk says he wants everyone to support us on patreon.com/GCANDC.
That's it. For as little as $1 per month. You can also check our written content on the blog there if you tune in. We might be shuffling some stuff up in terms of website and written content in the future, but check there for now. You can also find our Twitter at GCANDC. Check it out.
Which our Twitter has blown up more and a lot more across the pond.
We have our own bot. We have our own bot there.
Nate bot. And then, as always, we still have our Discord channel. You know, there's a lot of stuff on there. A lot of D&D memes show up on there. And just random comic book news. As well as our Facebook group that it seems like it's updated a lot when big news drops. And so it's almost like a contest to see who's going to drop the news on Facebook.
It is. It's who can get there first. Speaking of spoiler people, yeah. Our channel is that.
Yeah. So watch what you read in there. So thanks for joining, everybody.
Thank y'all. We love you.
Peace.
Tune in next week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Oh, yeah. We should talk about Joker at some point. All right. Later, y'all.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Peace.